Chelsea Football Club have a massive problem on their hands, and it's Joao Felix's future, because the reality is Kyle Walker caught in a video in an expose where he's saying, Joao, pass the ball, we're not Messi. Where this is a little bit disrespectful, but we need to talk about it because the internet has ran with it and it's getting a little bit pathetic. I think people are jumping to too many conclusions. We're going to have to talk about it. Furthermore, Erling Haaland is injured. Pep Guardiola confirms it. Chelsea have a game against Spurs for the top 4 race. This is huge news. We're going to preview the game, but before we do that, we're also going to talk about Andrey Santos. Andrey Santos has came out with his chest out and basically made a claim and answered, are you good enough to play for Chelsea? He said yes and went into more detail. He also spoke about one Chelsea former star that has had a huge impact on him and has changed the way he looks at his football career. This is actually very interesting, a lot of detail, but before we get started, number 1, hit that like button. 1,000 likes go a long way. Number 2, subscribe, because we are 350 people away from 40,000. I am getting closer to that landmark, and we will get to it, and then we'll get to 50,000 by the end of this year, as long as you lot do your thing. Do it now, because you will forget. Let's get started. Welcome to the Kavkas View, bratuchy, and in today's video, we are going to talk about Joao Felix, and let's get it started. Look, Joao Felix's time at AC Milan has not gone well. 11 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 600 minutes played. Now he's a bench player, came in, started as a starter, slowly relegated to the bench, reintegrated to the starting lineup on the weekend. Has not been good. You can't exaggerate it, right? This player has always been preaching, give me an opportunity, give me an opportunity. And you know what? Purely based off his talent level, the guy's got numerous opportunities. Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, AC Milan. The clubs are unbelievable after coming through the Benfica academy. £107 million spent on it. This is a top tier player on paper. However, what we know is, since his performance against Napoli, the newspapers have got carried away. Classic newspapers. They said, a failure, a ghost, a player that's ignored by his teammates. And what makes it even worse, a video has leaked. And the video that has leaked, it is damning. And I'm going to explain to you why it's damning, but at the same time, people are doing too much. You know them ones? The recipe says salt, pepper, a little bit of paprika. People are going with the oregano. They're going with the cumin, a little bit of smuck. Everything's getting added in. It's not going to taste good because you've put too many good seasons in there. But just because they're all good individually or as a combination, this combination ain't working. This is what's happened. Kyle Walker said, pass the ball, we aren't Messi. And the cameras picked it up. And obviously, it's Joao Felix. And Joao Felix attracts a lot of attention. Whether you like it or not. The Italian media knows this. The Spanish media knows this. The English media knows this. YouTubers know this. Twitter people know this. He attracts attention. You put him in a title, in a thumbnail, you're getting clicks, you're getting likes. And the reality is, it's because he's polarizing. People either love him, or people either hate him. There's no in between. People hate him so much, they want to watch videos just to tell people how bad he is. People love him, they come on to defend him. It is that bad. And the reality is, the notion is, this ball hog is rubbish. That is the notion. However, what I did was, I went and checked the stats. Because what happened was, I was watching that game. I watched the first half, and I watched a bit of the second half. But I didn't watch it in excellent detail. You know them ones when you've got the game in the background, and every time Milan were attacking, I glimpsed up because I was doing something on my laptop. I was editing, had it on my big screen. Next thing you know, I looked at the stats. I was like, yo, Joao weren't involved to be warranting that type of comment, pass the ball. Like, Joao genuinely didn't have enough touches, or I didn't see it. So I just left it. The next day, scrolling down, I see on Twitter, and this made me laugh, a compilation of every touch Joao had. I have watched this video twice. I've also commented on it and made a tweet. So if any of you want to go watch it, it's in the pinned comment below. Go look at it on my Twitter, right? Joao did not touch the ball enough, in my opinion, to warrant that type of comment. Everything that came to him was crisp, 1 touch. He didn't do none of his flicks. He didn't do none of his rotations. He didn't do none of the get the ball and try beat a man. Everything was either defensive work rate clips of where he's putting in tackles and interceptions, or 1 touch. He was too far away from the final third to make any impact. So for me, it's not Joao, you're not Messi. It's Joao, do something. Joao, get involved. But we didn't talk about that. That doesn't happen on Twitter because people don't watch the clips. They don't do the research. They don't want to. They just go, Joao Felix, we've made our minds up, he's trash, and this is what's happening. But what's next for Joao Felix? Joao Felix, Fabrizio says, will be returning to Chelsea. AC Milan are not going to be getting him. They don't have the money, nor do they have the intention to keep this player. They don't think he's good enough. He's got 3 options according to Fabrizio. Saudi, Benfica, or Turkey. This is very, very bad. because he's either going back to his home where he started without proving anything, or he's going to retire in Turkey or retire in Saudi Arabia. This is a money grab. For me, this whole situation stinks. There is two ways that this ends. Number one, Joao takes the easy way out. Or number two, Joao comes back to Chelsea, gets into that team, works his ass off, gets any opportunity that he gets to make it into the first team. And when he does, Joao needs to take his chance with two hands. He needs to accept that he's a squad player. He needs to accept that he's going to be sitting behind Cole Palmer. The options are not going to be there. Asensio is most probably going to go to Aston Villa, and that deal's done. Villa are not going to have the money to pay for a Joao Felix nor cover his wages. Because in his head and George Mendes' head, that's a step down. And for me, this is a horrible, horrible situation. Someone on Twitter said a very interesting point. What if we send him to Strasbourg? What if he goes to Strasbourg, Liga, let him go crazy, have a team built around him, develop, and then we sell him? The problem is Strasbourg weren't built for this. Strasbourg was genuinely built for a different type of show. Strasbourg were built to develop young talent, not to take talent that no one wants. It was built to take Petro. It was built to take Santos. It was built to take Moreira's. It was built to take Achampongs potentially, Tariq Georges, players that are young and have got a lot to prove. But this is a very, very controversial situation. And what I wanted to say here is not that Joao Felix needs to come back and play. It's more so that do your research before you start attacking players. Because that performance did not warrant the comment that came from Kyle Walker. Genuinely did not touch the ball enough for we're not Messi shouts. It's pathetic. Andrey Santos has come out and spoke again. And when international duties happen, players tend to do what? Interviews and relax. Or play for their clubs, right? It's those three things. Problem is, when they're playing for their countries, they're basically talking to journalists in their free time after training. If not, they're basically doing the media rounds, they're talking to their teammates. Andrey Santos didn't get called up this time. What did he do? He spoke. He spoke about how it's important for them to get UCL. And what was very interesting about the UCL talks was that Andrey Santos at Strasbourg believes they should get it. And that shows ambition, and I respect it. He also said there'll be talks between his agents and the two clubs. That is completely different to what he said about other clubs. So for me, maybe he was caught in mistranslation. Maybe it's the same interview, but there's a lot to say. He also went on and spoke about how Thiago Silva, the Chelsea, I would call him a cult hero, not a legend, but he had a huge impact on him. He said during that preseason, he went for dinner with him. He ate with him and he saw the nutrition, he saw the little details, and he saw how he looks after his body, how he trains. And for me, that just flicked one thing in my head. Yo, it's so important to have these players in the dressing room for these young players to see and aim to be. Look, at the end of the day, these young players are absolutely phenomenal. These young players have got all the talent in the world to be great. But if they don't apply themselves, talent don't mean nothing, as Mudrik's tattoo says, because it ain't enough. Genuinely, it's not enough. It's all about applying yourself to your talent and then developing your craft and then becoming better and better. And once you do that, yo, the clouds are the limit. You know what I mean? Like the sky is the limit, if that's the expression. So Santos's comments, I love it because he's basically putting his foot down. He wants to return to Chelsea if the opportunity is there for him to play. He said, I am ready. When it comes to the preview versus Chelsea versus Spurs at Stamford Bridge, what's there to say? Spurs have won 5 away games all year out of 15. Spurs have got 1 draw, meaning they've lost 9. Chelsea are going in with 8 wins in 14 at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have got a huge opportunity to get 3 points. This is one of those games where we have to get 3 points if we want Champions League football, and that's the preview. Look, what do you want me to sit here and say? How Chelsea need to attack and there's a high line and Jackson has to play? I don't know who's going to play. I don't know how fit Jackson is. I don't know how fit Noni is. I don't know how fit Palmer is. I am absolutely clueless on this situation at this moment in time, and I don't want to waste all of your time telling you stuff that you already know. It's a must-win game. We need to secure these points. And if we don't, there will be questions asked and the answers might not be friendly. Because Champions League football is a must, especially with the latest news regarding Erling Haaland and Manchester City. Pep Guardiola said he's out for 5 to 7 weeks. They're hoping he's back for the Club World Cup. With Haaland gone, their dependence on Marmoush to get goals has become even more severe. Doku and Savinho don't get enough goals. Foden has taken a sabbatical. Kevin De Bruyne looks like he's come back from an all-inclusive holiday and he's struggling to run around. Gundogan, he looks shot. Absolutely, legs are gone. Bernardo Silva is the slowest player in the Premier League according to Opta. This is absolutely a Manchester City that we don't know if they can step up and get the points without Erling Haaland. However, it is Manchester City and it is Pep, so I'm not ruling it past them, and they're not the ones we need to beat. It's Forest, and it's Newcastle, and it's Villa, and it's Brighton. If we do our jobs, if we win 5 of the next 9, we will be in the Champions League. And that is the goal. Whether that's a good enough season, we will review the season in detail at the end. But what I need from all of you now is to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel because you're all lovely people, you enjoyed the content, and in the comments below let me know, what do you think? Santos is going to be at Chelsea next year, or are we going to sell him? Peace out, I'm out, have a lovely day.